Hi everyone, welcome to this Clean and Decorate with me for autumn 2024. I'm going to be working in my dining room today. I have this fabulous buffet slash sideboard slash used to be a dresser, but now we use it in the dining room. And I am going to decorate this today with a beautiful garland that matches my twin trees that are already in this room. And in order to do so, I need to clean first. So the first part of this video is going to be me cleaning, and I am going to put timestamps on the screen so that if you're not interested in that part, then you can skip ahead to the decorating portion of the video. Instead of speeding this footage up, I'm actually going to keep it at regular speed with some cuts, of course. But I'm also going to talk to you a little bit more than usual about some of the things that I'm using, decorating with, etc. So right now what I'm cleaning is this little Victorian etagère, which is basically this little stepladder looking Victorian display piece. It is an antique. And you guys, I got this for free. One of my biggest tips to you is to let people in your life know that you're open to receiving items that they might be done with. And you will be shocked at what people will offer you when they are cleaning out their house, etc. This was a family friend's. She was just tired of it and knew that I was interested in Victorian items and antiques and offered it to me. And of course I said yes. I'm using a feather duster because it's just impossible to get in those little corner spots. It's so soft on the finish and does a great job of picking up those stray particles instead of sending them up into the air. Next, I'm going to wipe down the buffet surface, and I'm going to use my absolute favorite autumn cleaning scent. This one, I don't think they make anymore. It's very hard for me to find. It's the orange clove. I do like the other autumn scents by Mrs. Meyer's, but this one is just my favorite. Now this buffet, as I mentioned, it used to be a dresser. I'll probably do a video someday dedicated just to this piece, but the short of it is that this is a French provincial 70s era dresser that usually comes in that sort of cream color with the gold trim. And one day, it was trash day. We were driving down a street in our neighborhood, and all of a sudden I shouted at my poor husband who was driving to, quick, pull over. We gotta stop. So he did. He said, what, what's the deal? And I said, we have to get that dresser. So I jump out of the car and go running over to look at it. And the poor thing was just on the side of the road. Her drawers were every which way all over the place. There were a couple pieces of hardware missing, but otherwise she was physically intact. Like all the drawers were there. Nothing was broken. She was dirty. Ugh, gross dirty. But I can deal with that. I can clean something, you know? So I said, babe, we've got to take this home. This is a great piece. I don't know where I'm going to use it, but we're going to use it somewhere. So he helped me load this huge dresser in the back of our little SUV, and we took it home. I cleaned it up, and then I painted it this very beautiful pale blue. I was going for that sort of French blue color, and this is a little bit lighter, and I will explain if I ever do a video on why and how I arrived at this particular shade. I love it. I think it's a statement piece without being overwhelming, and you really can't beat free for a piece like this. Now this garland is part of the Carolina Pine collection that I talked to you about in my last video. This is one of those many pieces that I have slowly been acquiring that are by the same company, and all the pieces coordinate with each other. Not that you have to do that, but I just enjoy this brand so much. The quality is so good. It's so pretty. Even on its own, I think it's beautiful. This is 2 pieces of the garland, and what I'm doing is picking out bits of dog hair. If you've seen my dog, you will understand why dog hair is an issue in this house at times. I spent a few minutes shaping the garland a little bit to get it to lay nicely on the top. This little velvet runner, this is one that I used last year. If you remember, I actually was able to pick up, I think, 3 of them for a really low price at TJ Maxx and Marshall's, those places. I absolutely love the color. Velvet is such a sumptuous fabric to be using in the autumn. And I got it on there, and then I immediately realized that there's a seam that was at the front. Now, does that really matter? No, but it was going to bother me. So I pulled it out and turned it around and just tucked it back under. What I love about this piece for autumn is that olivey color. I think that's such a beautiful autumn green as opposed to a more hunter green, kind of like what's in my shirt. But again, these garlands, this Carolina pine combination of branches, whatever it is that they used, it has all these different greens in it. And you can, when you put a color like this next to it, when you put this olive color against the garland, it picks up the olive tones in the garland itself. And I just think it's fantastic. You can kind of lean it in a more autumn direction versus a Christmas direction. Not to sound like a broken record, but it is such a good idea to invest in high quality garland and trees and wreaths because they will last you forever if you take care of them and if you pay for something that is a little bit higher quality to begin with. Okay, so we're going to start decorating this with the seed garland. In my last video, when you saw me doing the trees, I did not start with this, but this time I felt that it was going to be easiest to use. It was going to be easiest to shape the garland along the garland? Shape the garland along the garland? You know what I mean. The seed strand along the garland if I did it first. More dog hair. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, it's everywhere. And yes, I vacuumed when I was done with this because when I'm decorating, I can't be fussed where things are falling. I just have them in the moment and working on the actual creative part of it. So I just do a thorough cleaning afterward. After the seeded garland, I went ahead with the Acorn picks. Again, I used almost all of this in the autumn trees because I did want to coordinate with those trees. They're in the same room, and the combination of elements that I used in those trees, oh, it's just beautiful. I hope that you saw that video where I put the trees together. If you didn't, it's going to be down below and probably in the cards above also for you to check out. These picks are from Hobby Lobby. I had bought a couple last year and added to my collection this year. They are carrying them in 2024. And they're another good example of buying something that you really like that has kind of a timeless color and that can be used over and over again in different ways. I kind of like the clumping effect of using larger picks like this, but I really like when you can weave it into the branches so it's not just sticking out as a big cluster. So that's what I'm doing, kind of fussing with the layering of the branches. Now, I've had mixed feedback when I do these videos where some people feel that I'm showing too much of the fussing and the arranging and it's boring to them, and other people ask me to show more and slower of this because they have a hard time doing it themselves. So I think I'm going to lean towards the people who need a little bit more help with this and like seeing the detail, with the thought that if it's not your cup of tea, you can kind of just fast forward a little bit or jump ahead. Because I can't really do both of those things in the same video, and I feel the best happy medium is to maybe just show a little bit more for people who are really trying to learn how to do this themselves. I hope you understand I'm trying to be helpful to people and not just show you the finished product. When I'm choosing the placement of these picks, I'm not going for exact symmetry, but I'm going for balance. I talked about this quite a bit when I made the autumn wreath this year, about how visual weight, so the amount of weight that your eye perceives when looking at like a vignette or an arrangement, that is more important than the actual symmetry. And in fact, if you get too symmetrical with things, if you start measuring things exactly, it looks artificial because in nature, it's very rare for things to be actually measurably symmetrical. And again, I'm not an interior designer. I'm just a decor enthusiast. I like my home to look beautiful and warm and approachable, someplace that if someone was invited into, they'd want to stay for a while. So that's what I'm trying to achieve here with my autumn decor. I'm trying to bring the outside in. I want to bring in those warm tones, that soft, comfortable aesthetic. That is what I'm going for, while maintaining that elegance and elevated beauty. Okay, so now we're going to shift over to the etagère, and you're going to see this changing a little bit. I started with the pumpkin on top. I love this. This is just beautiful. I got it from Hobby Lobby. It's like a beautiful ceramic jack-o'-lantern with botanical elements on it. You can sometimes find some very elegant pieces at these box stores, and I want to start showing you all a little bit more of how I find these elements and what I look for when I'm in these stores. On the bottom layer of this etagère, I have these two fantastic compotes, and I'm just going to fill it with some pine cones. Pine cones are perfect not only for the autumn, but they can carry me into the winter too. I wanted to use some of my brown transferware but I just don't have that much. I only have a couple of pieces, and in fact, one of them is a giant platter, which of course I couldn't use here. So I'm just kind of setting things on here, taking a look at how they seem to me, and if I like it. Usually I have all of my white ironstone terrines on this, kind of cascading down. I love the way that looks, but I wanted a little bit more of an autumn vibe here. And I had just moved this etagère over from the opposite corner. If you've been paying attention to the way my dining room is arranged, you'll certainly have noticed that I've moved a lot of furniture around, and I'm loving the way that it has landed. I will try to give you guys a better overview of the current dining room arrangement when I am kind of at the end of my decorating. I'm loving it here in the corner, and I wanted to use some of my brown transferware, but I just don't have very much. I only have a couple pieces, so I was trying to kind of spread it out and make it work. And again, you'll see me moving things around, up, down. This will probably change even between now and when I do my final my final pass through, my final overview. I'm definitely one of those people who likes to set out their decor and then walk by it and move something and walk by it and arrange something. It's not static. That's much more enjoyable to me than having to stick to exactly what I started with. I also added the little bit of seed garland on here. I really wasn't sure if Ella would bother it, but she has only tapped at it a couple times. She hasn't tried to chew it or muck with it too much. So it's interesting seeing what she, at 3 months, is interested in and what she really couldn't care less about. I have a couple more things to add to the garland, and one of them are these fabulous little velvet pumpkin picks. These are from last year, and I did use them in the twin trees. I've just tucked a couple in here and there, and I think these take this whole thing up a notch and make it even more elegant and luxurious feeling. Like I mentioned in the Hobby Lobby shopping video, I did see these in store again this year, so if there's something you're interested in, you can pick these up in 2024. And then I've got my linen look orange wired ribbon. This is also from Hobby Lobby. And I'm only going to put this at the ends, I decided. I don't want to overdo it with the ribbon, but I do want to have it cascading down on the ends, on the sides. So I just estimated how much I might need and cut that off. And then I used a simple overhand bow. Nothing fancy necessary here, but then I did take a minute to kind of fuss with the way that the fabric was laying once I had tied it, because that does make a difference. In order to curl it, I just sort of went with the already existing memory. A lot of times when ribbon like this comes off the roll, it's already got a hint of curl to it. So if you just twist that a little bit harder and then let it pop back out and fluff it a little, it looks like you've curled a long ringlet with a curling iron. It looks so pretty. So I did the same thing on the other side in opposite directions. And then in order to attach it to the garland, all I did was curl a piece of the garland up, a little wired piece up, and hang the bow right on there. Little Ella was checking out this ribbon. For some reason, it made her nervous, so she was getting her big girl gumption up to figure out if that was something that she needed to be worried about. It's funny the things that seem to bother her. After a while, she realized this wasn't so bad. I don't think she's going to be a very big cat, you guys. Her feet are so little and petite. She's just a little doll. I did the same thing with the ribbon on the other end. Again, curling the ribbon away from the center, kind of making a little hook with the wired piece and just hanging it on there. And since I made this video and hung these on, I haven't touched them. They haven't fallen down. That's all I needed to do. Now, I'm actually not done, but I had to wait to the next day to finish this project because I had to make more of these DIY oak leaf picks. I showed you in my fall tree decorating video how I make these, but essentially it's incredibly straightforward. I just take some fresh leaves and spritz some gold spray paint onto them. I don't try to cover them or completely coat them. I just want to give them a little bit of glimmer and a hint of gold. I used fresh leaves this year because last year I discovered that if I used fresh and added just a tiny bit of spray paint and then put them in place, they would dry in place and curl and look fantastic. And I had a lot less breakage this way than trying to work with already dried pieces. So when that's an option, I'm absolutely going to work with the fresh pieces. And I will insert a photo of what it looks like once the leaves dry and curl up. They add so much more volume and texture and character when they're dry. It looks fantastic. And of course, leaves in the fall are dry, so it works perfectly, in my opinion. Do you remember when I said in the shopping video that I should go back for those mugs? Well, I did. I went back and got 2 of them. Okay, now the garland is done, it's time to decorate in front of it. And I'm going to use this ginormous Cinderella pumpkin that I bought last year. I really like it here in front of the mirror because it reflects beautifully too. The back is just as pretty as the front. And continuing that natural element but glammed up kind of vibe, I've got these fantastic mushroom candle holders, again from last year. Remember, they were silvery pewter when I bought them, and I painted them like a bronzy, warm gold tone, multiple metal tones, really. Meanwhile, little Missy here, she was on this chair in front of the window being so cute. She was looking out at the people walking by on the sidewalk. So here's how everything is looking, at least for now. I'm going to do a little overview of the etagère and the buffet for you. And you can see I even changed things from when I was showing you earlier in the video. I did add some filler to that bowl. And then I added that beautiful shelf fungi and the pictures, and those pictures match the terrain in the middle there, that ironstone terrain. So I'm pretty happy with that for now, I think. I'm really pleased with the way this looks. I just love the orange touches on the ends without carrying it through the garland. I just don't think it was necessary to carry the ribbon through, but the seed garland brings that cohesiveness to the garland, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you like this kind of decorating where it's sort of a natural element, but a little bit glitzed up, a little glamorous? I think it's a nice combination of elegant and elevated while still being down to earth and bringing in the natural elements. This pumpkin is great. My only regret is that I didn't buy a couple more of them when I saw them, and they sure are not in stores this year, at least that I have seen yet. I'll keep my eye out. I love the way the ribbon looks on this end. I'm just going to pull the chair out of the way so you can see it. Isn't that beautiful, the way the ribbon hangs down? Just love when it comes together like this. And I think it's so pretty against the blue, all these greens and the orange. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today and watching this video. If you could give me a thumbs up, I would appreciate that so much. It really helps my channel and it helps me to know that you enjoyed this content. And I will see you in the next video. There it goes.